Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to check out my session on delivering content in an ABM world as part of the Virtual Marketing Innovation Summit. I'm going to walk you through 3 changes you need to make in terms of how you deliver your content for your ABM program. My name is Elle Woulfe. I'm the VP of Marketing at LookBookHQ, and we are an intelligent content platform helping marketers to always ensure they're delivering the next best content asset and thinking critically about what sales readiness really means. I'm gonna show you a little bit as part of this presentation what I'm talking about. So when we think about account-based marketing, I like to think of it in terms of traditional demand gen, because it's borrowing a lot of what we've learned in the world of demand gen. And so in that way, if you think about traditional demand gen tactics and programs as being the egg, ABM is really just a byproduct. It's really just a derivative. It's basically taking those same types of programs and tactics and applying a lot more surgical precision and focus around the targeting. And so what we often see in ABM is use of the same tool set. It's really a lot of the same channels, and leveraging content as the primary vehicle that we use to educate our buyer. So same types of channels, same types of tools, same types of programs and tactics. Same, maybe the offers are more targeted or more focused or more tailored to individual audiences, but still leveraging content as the primary way that we are trying to move people through the buying cycle. The primary difference, obviously, in ABM is that things are a lot more targeted. It's just a different lens by which we look at things. And I think, it sort of falls in the no-duh category, but it's important to state this stuff because I think we sometimes talk about ABM like it's this mythical, magical thing. And really, it's long been the domain of both sellers. Account-based selling is something that salespeople have done for a long time, as well as, you often saw these types of tactics emerge in field marketing that was a bit more focused and targeted. And now we're just really trying to apply a slightly more mass marketing ability to a targeted account, world. And again, it's important to think critically about what it is we're talking about here, right? So in ABM, we're really focused on the companies. We hear lots of people talking about new technologies out there for building target account lists and thinking critically about who we want to target. So rather than just casting this very wide net from a marketing perspective, we're trying to really make sure that we get to buyers who are in the individual accounts that we'd like to sell to. That is true. But the other thing that we shouldn't lose sight of is even though we sell to companies, we still need to market to people, right? At the end of the day, it is in educating people, buyers, individual buyers within an account that gets us to the place where we can actually turn that account into a customer, right? So even though we're targeting companies and we're selling to companies, there are still people within those accounts that we need to market to, okay? And so that is why we're still using content and we're still delivering content to people in an effort to get them educated and qualified and move them along the buying process. So, taking a step back, this is sort of a no-brainer. Everybody knows this, but a large portion of the buying process today is happening digitally. People are consuming lots of content, whether it's through channels that we are delivering or otherwise. But our buyers are out there, they're consuming information, and they're doing a lot of their research before they get to a salesperson, and they're doing that primarily online. The other thing that's important to consider is that in order to become truly qualified and sales ready, buyers consume an awful lot of content. If you think about it in terms of your own personal life, if you've ever purchased any big ticket item, a car, a boat, expensive piece of computer equipment or speakers or something like that, you probably are consuming a lot of content before you make that purchase decision. And your B2B buyers are exactly the same. You can multiply that by 17 on the enterprise side when you think about how many people are involved in a purchase decision. So that means we as marketers need to deliver an awful lot of content to an awful lot of buyers in order to actually get those people to a point where they are sales ready and educated enough to actually be really qualified. And so it leads me to my next point about why we do it the way that we do. if, we rely on content to educate buyers and we need to deliver so much of that content to get people to be sales ready, why do we make it so hard for them to consume the content? The traditional playbook for how we deliver content in sort of a traditional demand gen setting is we deliver an offer, right? We send you an email or we target an ad at you, or we find you on a social channel. We deliver some compelling reason that you should click through. And then when we get you to click through, which by the way is really hard nowadays, we all know that the performance rates for these channels have diminished greatly over time. So getting that click, particularly for a set of finite accounts, it's coveted. You really want to maintain that person's interest once you've gotten them to click. We then typically deliver them to a landing page or a form, right? We try to get them to reveal something about themselves before we hand them the content that they have requested. And then we let them run face first into a brick wall, right? We had this person on the hook. We got them to do the thing we wanted them to do, click on the email, click on the offer, click on the ad. We hand them the piece of content, and then we let them walk away. And our hope is that, next week when we deliver the next email in our nurture program or the next time they see an ad, they'll click again. And if you think about what I was just saying about the way that we do our research, the way we consume information, it's just not the way it's done. Most buyers today, when they are actually engaged in a purchase decision, when they are trying to shortlist a vendor or learn about a technology or learn about your product or solution, they're consuming a lot of content in one setting, right? They're sitting down when they have a moment and they're actually poring over the customer reviews, right? The data sheets, the case studies, like all of the content that's being delivered, and they're consuming a lot of it at once. And so the traditional way that we've delivered content to buyers does not facilitate that natural buying process that the buyer wants to go through, where they want to consume a lot of content at once. And so, very simply put, we need to transform the way we deliver content. We need to stop thinking in those terms. We need to stop thinking that it's sort of this one and done, just get them to click, just deliver the offer, just deliver the asset. We need to think about every click being the start of a journey and delivering content to those buyers, because remember, there's still people at those companies that need to consume the content. We need to make it easy for those people, whether they're known or unknown, to consume all the relevant content they need in the time when they are actually sitting down to do the research. So now I'm going to walk through 3 simple changes that marketers need to make, and this is the short version, to really transform the way they deliver content and think about sales readiness. And the first area is around personalizing the journey, making sure we're not just personalizing the offer or the door or the website or the asset. We are getting them to walk through that door through personalizing an offer, and then also personalizing the content journey that they have on the other side of it. The second part is nurturing people wherever they click, whether they're unknown or known, whether it's driving someone to your website and you have no idea who they are, being able to serve up a set of recommended content to continually keep them moving through a related sequence of content that they need to actually consume to become educated and qualified. And the last thing is about rethinking what sales readiness means. For too long, marketers have relied on things like clicks and downloads and form submits as a proxy for intent and sales readiness. But when someone clicks on your offer, clicks on your ad, what you don't really know is, did they consume the content? And consumption of that content is really a better indicator of intent or sales readiness than a click. So I'm going to show you some of the ways that our customers are transforming the way they do these things to get much better results, both with their ABM programs, but also with all of their demand gen programs. So the first area is personalizing the door is not enough, right? As I just said, if you've truly adopted ABM, you're probably doing a lot to personalize what I like to call the door, right? The personalized ad, the personalized offer on your website or your homepage, a personalized resource center, for example. Maybe it's a very targeted social promotion. So you're doing the work to identify the segments, to figure out who the buyers are, to deliver offers and content and assets that are relevant to that audience, right? And if you're going to do that, if you're going to put all this time and energy into creating these really targeted offers and segmenting by audience and delivering really relevant content through your ad strategy or your retargeting strategy or your website, if you're going to do it, why not then put the same amount of effort into tailoring the experience that your buyer has once they click? So if you get someone, that 0.001% of the population that actually click on that ad, take them to a relevant set of content where you can potentially hang on to their attention. Because now you've got them there. They clicked on your ad. They're interested in that piece of content. They're the right company. It's this highly personalized experience to get them through that door. Well, when you get them there, deliver all of the relevant content assets that they need to make a purchase decision, because you might not get them to click again. So it's really about making sure that we're not just focused on getting the click. We want to get the engagement. We want to get the education. We want to get the qualification on the backside of that. And we do that by really tailoring or personalizing that overall content experience that we deliver. The second area is about focusing on our unknown or our anonymous users and how we can nurture them. I think we as marketers have gotten really good at nurturing the people in our database, right? If we know enough about you and we know where you came from and your persona and all of that, we can deliver a pretty compelling and targeted nurturing experience. But at the end of the day, particularly with ABM, a lot of the people who are trying to actually move through this buying process are unknown to us, right? They're coming to our website, they're seeing an ad through a targeted display channel, and we may not know who they are, right? But those people deserve to be nurtured almost more so, because in getting them to consume content, to become educated, that's how we're going to get them to become known, to reveal who they are, and to want to talk to sales. And so, if you've gone through the work and gotten them to your website, right? So you've got them here, they showed up through, whatever channel, and maybe you're doing something really smart. Maybe you're personalizing a set of content recommendations or offers through your website to get them to click, right? You're giving them the kind of information that they want. If you've gone to all of that trouble, why not then try to continue to nurture them? So rather than just dropping them on a hosted PDF or dropping them on a landing page and giving them that piece of content they wanted, why not try to deliver relevant content recommendations wherever that person converts? So what you see here is actually content delivered through a LookBookHQ intelligent content experience, and we're using what we call content science. Our algorithm is actually delivering a set of recommendations here. So even if I don't know who you are, I know how other people have engaged with this content. I know how this content is tagged. I know what it is, right? And so in the same way that Netflix knows that you're the guy who just sat on your couch for 7 hours on a Saturday and watched, 14 episodes of How I Met Your Mother, and knowing that about you, they're able to then make a recommendation about additional content you might like. And guess what? Next weekend, you're probably going to sit on your couch for another 10 hours and watch a whole new series, because Netflix is really good at using that data to deliver a recommended set of content. And that's what we're doing here. We're serving content recommendations based on the relationship of the content and a whole bunch of other things we know about how people have engaged, so that no matter where someone clicks or if they're known to you or not, we can recommend the content experience that will keep them engaged, keep them clicking, and keep them consuming content. Very, very similar to the way that Netflix does. Here's an example from a campaign that we ran recently. So you see a whole bunch of display ads. We were delivering very targeted display to a specific set of accounts. And we were doing it through, as I said, display channels, retargeting, some targeted social promotion. And so, getting them to click on the ad is really difficult. But if we get them to click on the ad, and, usually when they click on an ad, we don't know who they are, we then take them to an experience where they can self-nurture. So, just because I don't know who they are and I don't know how to curate the content doesn't mean I can't deliver a set of content recommendations. So here, they get the asset that they converted on, and now I'm delivering several other options for them so that they can sit and consume while they have the time and while they are engaged. So again, using all of this data, using algorithms and artificial intelligence to drive a set of content recommendations allows you to nurture anyone, no matter where they click or who they are. And so the last change that I would recommend is for people to sort of break from tradition in terms of how they think about both marketing success and sales readiness, right? A click is just a click. And unfortunately, everybody who clicks, that behavior, it looks the same to you, right? You know, we've had to rely on these sort of vanity metrics for a really long time. I mean, I came up in my demand gen career. I worked for Elle Woulfe for 4 years, and Elle Woulfe was really at the forefront of digital body language and this new world where we could track what people are doing online, and that's still important. But now we're actually able to go a step further and understand when someone clicks on something, when someone comes to your website, when someone downloads your piece of content, wouldn't you like to know how much time they're actually spending so that you can separate the person who clicks and, you know, downloads that asset and it just goes to die on their desktop, or that person who spends 10 or 20 minutes really poring over that information and trying to make a purchase decision. So if you've adopted ABM and you've done all the right things, right, you've done the content personalization and the website personalization, you've served the targeted ads and you've segmented your audience and you've created really compelling offers for various different personas within different accounts, you've done all of that work. Don't you want to know that it worked, right? So again, here's a screen pulled actually out of our Marketo instance that shows a whole bunch of people who clicked on something, a bunch of people who are known to me who clicked on an email website, right? And unfortunately, in Marketo, it thinks those people all did the same thing. All it knows is that they all clicked. And so what we tend to do is, you know, traditional lead scoring, you're seeing the screen from our lead scoring actually, we start adding up those behaviors. Okay, they clicked on this email, and then they came to the website, and then they did this, this, and this. And we just give them some points for everything they did. But what's missing from this is the idea of consumption. We know that they clicked. We know that they filled out the form. We know that they downloaded the asset. What we don't know is, did they actually consume it? And it's that consumption of that information that is really a leading indicator of sales readiness and interest. So if you did all the work, don't you want to know if it actually worked? So in this example, we're looking at a whole bunch of people who came in through Lookbook content experiences, and we're looking at how much content they consumed. And what you want to be able to do is separate this guy down here who showed up, looked at some stuff, and spent a total of 32 seconds, right? From this guy up here who consumed a ton of content and spent, you know, a meaningful amount of time with it. In understanding how the content is consumed, you're really able to separate sort of that casual clicker from a serious buyer. And you can also do this at the account level. So again, if your focus is in trying to heat up target accounts for your sales team, wouldn't you rather tell your sales rep that AT&T is showing a ton of intensity, right? There's an intensity to the research people are doing. Multiple visitors are coming. They're binging on the content, right? They're looking at multiple content assets in a setting. They're spending meaningful time versus SoftBank down here that you've been, you know, sending all these targeted offers to, and these people are clicking through and then they're bouncing, right? Clearly, there's no signal of intent happening there. So yes, I want my sales reps to take action on AT&T. I want them to know when this behavior is happening, and I want them to be able to take action on it quickly. So again, moving away from sort of those clicks and downloads as the reigning metrics, and really focusing on the consumption of the content as the indicator of sales readiness and intent. So that's really it, 3 simple things, right? And it really all comes down to changing the way you deliver your content. If you deliver content in a way that makes it easy for people to consume, find, spend time with, you're also able to then track how it's consumed and use these new metrics to sort of power your sales process, right? Your demand engine. So on the left-hand side of the brain, it's that data side of knowing if the content was actually consumed, looking at real engagement metrics as a measure of sales readiness. And on the right side, it's about delivering content through these engaging content experiences that make it easy for your content to be consumed, of getting out of the way of your buyer and removing all that friction so that an engaged buyer who's just clicked through and is looking to spend a little time and do a little research right now, you're getting out of their way and you're making it really, really easy for them to find all of the information that they need so they can plow right through it. So I'm going to sum up in a minute, and then I actually want to share a few customer results because I think we've got some customers who are doing really interesting things with these content experiences. So summing up intelligent content and the delivery of intelligent content for ABM, the first piece of it is always serving the next best content asset. Again, and if you think about traditional lead nurturing and you think about nurturing your known database, marketers have been able to sort of put together that sequence of content. So if I know you are, you have this title and you're at this type of company and I have this information about you, well then I can put together a series of 5 or 6 emails that deliver the content I'd like you to consume, right? But it's harder to do that, obviously, for an unknown audience. And so, again, using content recommendations and content science to power those content journeys is one way that we can make sure we're always delivering the next best content asset. And also, even with our traditional nurture programs, again, assuming that people won't wait until you deliver the email next Thursday to click again, taking advantage of that click when you've got it and trying to always make sure you're moving people through the relevant content. It's allowing your buyer to self-nurture. It's allowing all the buyers within a target account to self-nurture. And that leads to far faster prospect education. And when prospects are educated, they are far more sales ready, they convert at a higher rate, and they close faster. And I'll show you some results that speak exactly to that. On the other side of things, it's really looking at real content engagement analytics. And it's about understanding the quality of the clicks. All those clicks look the same. Can you now unpack, was the content consumed? You can look at that at the visitor level. You can look at that at the account level. You can look at that at the asset level, right? This is a great tool for content marketers even who want to understand, of all the clicks we're generating, all this great content, what's actually being consumed? Because that's going to help me to fine-tune what I create next. So using those content engagement analytics to understand channel performance, to understand visitor quality, to understand content quality. It really changes the game and transforms the way you're able to think about marketing performance. And we like to think of this post-click engagement data as pretty transformative. Again, our customers tell us that it allows them to do things that they were never able to do before. So understand at the visitor level who is engaging, count the actual person, right? Whether that person is known or unknown, see who's engaging. Understand which accounts are ready to buy because you see this groundswell of engagement within those accounts. Understanding what content's working for me, as I just said a minute ago. And really seeing which channels are moving the needle. My team does some really interesting analysis where we actually look at all of our various channels and then we look at, our standard KPIs, how much did those channels cost, how many clicks and visitors and all of that. But then we look at, is the engagement different? You might have a channel that gets low clicks and really high engagement. So not a lot of people are coming through this channel. However, when they do, they're the right people and they're spending quality time with our content. And so you're going to think about the performance of that channel a bit differently. So it's really a new lens by which marketers can gauge the effectiveness of all of their marketing programs. So just a few customer results I wanted to share, a few different stories. I think our customers see, they see a lot of different improvements around content consumption, velocity in the funnel, conversion in the funnel. And again, it has a lot to do with the fact that when marketing is able to focus on those buyers who have shown a deep level of engagement, those buyers are inherently more sales ready. They are inherently more qualified, and they're going to convert at a higher rate. So ADP, we had a customer give a presentation about this recently from ADP, and I love this quote: "Binging builds momentum, momentum builds results," and it's absolutely true. So using LookBookHQ content, intelligent content delivery, ADP has been able to really cultivate better educated, more qualified buyers, and no surprise here, it's impacted how much revenue they've been able to influence, how many opportunities they create, and how those opportunities move through the funnel. So they see greater momentum with buyers who exhibit this kind of binging behavior, right? And they're able to fast track those buyers. And same idea here. Tibco, who spoke recently for us at the Serious Decisions Summit, talked about, using LookBookHQ content experiences for some really specific programs and it allowed them to move prospects through the funnel at a faster rate because, again, those buyers who were really engaged, who are showing this intensity around the research, TIBCO was able to deliver all of that content in a far quicker succession. They also did some really interesting things looking at the types of content that people were binging on and then using that to reshuffle or change the sequence of content they deliver to make it actually perform better. So a 92% increase in sales qualified leads, higher opportunity conversion rates, and a far greater efficiency in moving people through the funnel. And the last one I'll share is from Nimble Storage, also has been doing some speaking for us recently at a few events, and really focusing on how to get people to engage more with content. So, and this, again, is a great quote. LookBookHQ gives us real content engagement metrics that we can tie to lead score rather than qualifying based on clicks. We see people do this a number of different ways. We have customers who are becoming so sort of enamored with these post-click engagement metrics that they're actually throwing out all of the old way they used to do their scoring. So now scoring is really tied to this intensity around content consumption. A lot of our customers, when they're sort of starting to crawl with this stuff, they use our engagement data as a way to sort of refactor a lead score. So, if they see the steep level of engagement, they might juice the score by 10 points to really sort of get that lead fast-tracked and into the hands of sales. So there's a number of ways that people can use the engagement data. It's incredibly flexible. My own team triggers an alert when someone reaches what we call a fast-moving buyer status. When they've shown deep intensity around research and engagement, we trigger an alert, particularly for our target accounts, so that a salesperson can get on it right away. They know that there is a buyer within a target account who's showing a lot of interest right now, and I need to take that very seriously because that interest is a true indicator of sales readiness and intent. So that's it. That's really all I've got. I think that it sometimes sounds more complicated than it needs to be. I mean, I'm talking about making a really simple change to the way that you deliver your content, and in doing that, enabling all these great things that I just talked about, enabling you to move buyers through more content every time they click, to identify when a buyer is truly engaged and be able to take action on that. And it all just starts with changing the way you deliver content, removing all those landing pages, those dead-end forms, and delivering content in the type of experience that makes it easy for people to find what they want, consume it, and continue to move through the buying process. We as marketers have done so much work in understanding the journey we want to take people on. Now it's time for the content delivery to catch up to that so that we actually deliver the type of experience that the buyer wants. So that's it from us. I hope that you'll stop by our virtual booth at the event and check us out, LookBookHQ, and we're always available for questions about how this works, so you can certainly seek us out, and we hope to get a chance to talk to you again in the future. Thanks.